Kaya yoxatini takat yuhan. Kunachu kay. Ya yejene takat. Hawush kanachu tu daati kanach. Ye awa achtuati. Kegachlitsi owe. Hayokatangi yitut. Ik achahin kach konach owe. Ajowe yechwaji. De ya yitla kay owe. Ya hayokatangi. Aqa qonea ya achtuasagu llulti dain wuchi nyuk gachtula aati. Wan qanins zoom tunach aya. Klidzi qa klelkdain aya tushquk ade aya yu qautul atkiya. Klelna leqo a wujin haguch satiyeqo a qeqa. Aqa achtuasagu wal wujit au tulqaini. Llingid qinach wujin yu qatulla atki. Ajowe kagachtu aq. Ya yegi. Ya achtuasagu we ayahai yi waqshi qeqsane. Qadusaya ya khwasa. Adata we tugachitla art. Ya yuqatank. Wait adat. Dasa yisitin. Dasa yisaku adat. Dasa itawasagu yisaku aya. Aqa awe wujin yuqagachtulla ata itch. Wan qanins just gleit qaq inach aya kagachtu aq hayuqatangi tushagugu keguchlidzi. Gleit qaq yuqatangi kelkdain awa awasku llingit. Llingit qwa qunachawe awsaku llingit. Ajowe keqwak atchgachtu la yechi. Ya hayuqatangi wujin llakatyuan. Taukt Ḳukaháa. Ajowe yata adatu tuchtatan yayagi. Atlein atgwalgiwe. Ajitch. Hajit wuduati. Ayahaya yigachisitin. Aqa achtuasagu adata we tiudatan. Ya kadushiti at tleyeye kwati nask wenitz qanach chitle aya. Kedena dat yijine iyuqatangi. Aqa achtuasagu iyuqatangi khoahi. Khatsu huji ai adata we yuqakwatan. Yadua hashukwa ai. Qanachawe yake at jánwu. Akhua janu. Akhua jan. Akhua jinwu. Nask wenitz qanach. Yejinaine. Gaut hit Johan achtuasagu khoahi yuqatangi atadan.
Pech jánwu awe.
Yeah, awa.
Lish yanak ya isikilchik.
Okay.
Da khun usi hasyati qadekh waq.
Yeah, awa.
Ayach wuchli eight jánwu.
Ah.
Achtuasagu jánwu ʼatudli. I feel like there's a way I can say hunting better, but
Like
oops.
achatluni.
Oh,
Atluni, achatluni. Chadakasa.
yakawe.
Achtuasagu jánwu chatluni.
Oh, yakawe. Kiltish.
Wanganins tak iti jánwu daat ka hwasatin.
Ha, okay.
Khatsu.
Okay.
T'aaw jánwu hastu ḳukaháa ʼatudli.átk.
Yawa.
Kikat Ḳukaháa Atlain jánwu watusitin ya shaka.
Ďakáha.
Weithlu Ḳukaháa Ḳukaháa t'aaw. We horns, that's I think it's hinach
A shady.
shady.
A shady.
A shady t'aaw.
Okay.
Dauk as chukan ka jánwu kaju jánwu yisakugi cha'an ku'ach tawasagu jánwu gli.
Ha. Hatsu. Okay, okay.
Au digan we gao.
Yawa.
We tsálk jánwu katsku ya te kuk.
Yawa.
We jánwu yadi usk.
Tach.
Usk. Jánwu kawutaki na kain. Kuchain. Gunas tish. Du ahlun jánwu. If I were a weaver, I would thank you so much.
Kasni.
Gunas tish kasni.
Okay, where you on?
Wanganins t'aaw Ḳukaháa Ḳukaháa St. Elias Lake Day Yach Watu Akuch Wanganins jánwu Haswatu Sitin We Sha Taik.
Okay. Sheesh. Na kide aya yach jánwu techi tsatnach Sha jánwu techi yidu wasago at Ҟūt Atlain jánwu aya ha'anikaye wuti. Qunach oe ya ghalil ko hasas de tuasago hasawaluni. Ya uhansu. Khatqaja tlay dihina wa kakhwa aq. Sha shakide qunach oe siu dakusatan. Sha shakita we wutua at qunach tlkat yech goose. Qunach oe qutla goose. Tltasa oe tusatin. Ajoy tlliaw tu wadlaq. Ya ach kak tlain qadishan. Qunach oe du tuaw saguwan. Jánwu qa awalluni. Qa achlil ku tlain su. An kadachtzin. Pu oe qaddu yitkhas. Hechasaku asadu asagu atlingit qinach. Gleil qa qinach su tlelkadin chasaku. Pushcart aya. Weistin ka day akanach aya. Ye oe adati has juwane. Du yitkhas. Ya achlil ku tlain. Aqa oe. Jánwu ayi. Ye oe yutu asaku. Ade haswu at. Jánwu qa. Tak qunach oe. Yekliat aya hastu jánwu. Ajoe tak hatu asagu. ʼatudli. Ya hastu shaded su. Shall aya. Shall dulyech. Tlkat at an aya duchaqa. Like we atcha. Qasiki kade aya. Gugwahuin. Wait atin. Gwalchis atshuktin. Ye awaqa. Ha. Qunnachawe yage. Gwell lleined sialtyn yicha. A tiwch yw'ch atangi. Ye awe a deall y chwe ye. Ye awe yag aya we jánwu. Hastu at uwu aya nanya ai. Qunnach tsálk. Eid hinne de haswu llagazen. Jánwu aya du een haswu art. Ye awe chwaach. Cha gleit hoots tse. Qunnach alletsini at aya weta. Gunilchish kadenka ye aqu. A iti aachtu wasagu chakut at. Du ya haitsu achtu wasagu yisatini. Ya duhu. Ya achuni. Achtu wasagu yisaku. Tsálk. You do a sagu at tsálk. Tsálk aya. Nasgwenit si jiwu. Kliye kwati. Atlin gunilchish yuhan achtu wasagu chwachi yu katangi we tsálk. Daat. We duhu.
Gus achla.
tsálk han. ʼatudli.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, Shah Kuk Eddie. Cake a quain kuk. Ples Kwasiku. You do a sock. Hoots Yeti Akwe.
Oh.
Yes, touch t'aaw Haynes Junction. Shayada Haynes Ark away. Ka Shayada Hain whoosh yeti.
Okay, yeah, well.
Du isnik I yak e.
Okay, good cheese.
Alki dugusa itinach iati.
Oh, good day.
Ide Kate. Just what's the cool? Shade him.
First, kakite ka. The case, yeah, you that.
Sheesh.
Okay.
Must do a squeak.
Oh.
They always squeak.
Chas kayani ge. Du iduas ituasagu we tsálk.
Tsusani again, hechasaku dasahasucha. Elkadina, what?
A jánwu sagwat yacheti.
Yeah, well. What kayani awecha? Take the hin away. Yeah, atwatu a hoch. Dachte. Chetka achlilk. Chat achtlak. Aka away. Goch sa ye hawutien. A katchatsewok akwasa do a sock. We are. Ake hawutien gwash. Qunana ani. Chadechat neo katchatsewok ok ya. wasadu sak ya haste ani. Aka awe we atkhata ke hiti kutzati. Atwatu kuch ya we atwatu kuch at a yikdahewe watu art. Kleine ka. Oh, ya ke ti we kajucha a couch watch. Hat ke ye achke. Ye awe kajucha. Gonel te katwe a toot the segu a dachyeke kwati. How? Aka awe we sheen da ye jene du khant wutu a kuch. Ha in has a kawane guksa. We do her. Yak e ha wutien. Gwash nask gao kak anach. Chuklewe kajucha dat ye jiwune. We gao. Klech kusti. We yakudze phone. Klechach ji kuk. Wujin yu ʼatudli.átk. Gonea yako a tlech ishko we gao. Chosatin we zich. A yik de we or a ka away we zich ka away. Kayani sin. Gwash katchatse wa kakdasatse. Haskach wa wus wanach saya yak ayati. Ah, tsálk aya we do. It was a good do redi ti. Gedinka wacha. Ye away kadu a hash. We sin klein ye wutien. Kadu a hashi at koa. Gwash yatayach ye kugi. Hoko kanachawe usk. Du neshi Dane. Yan chwati in. Gagi uagut. Kanachawe hasya satk. Awa shad yatayach. Akakunach. T'aaw awe awacha. Chikle awe awachai. Tesh awa nude. Du wash tu ye wuti a klein atcha. Wash clenk, konach wash clenk. Ye awe a de hasacha ye. We tsálk. Okay. Achtu was a good tsálk. Dugu a klein. Ḳukach adi a ye konach ha ad uwu. Tsálk dugu kudats. Tsálk dugu kum. A joe kunache wush de seichen yeu tusene. Ha chunkian. Oh. We a kuwu. Ḳukaháa. A hast your kuwu aya gwash. A joe a tuta ya ye has kuwu u. A klein a dakka we tsálk. Hka klesha wu de hin. Tsálkhan ko a you do a sock we sha klein. Tsálkhan. Yisikuge gleirchach inach wasadu sago at tsálkhan. Mount Fairweather. Tsálkhan. A joe tsálk an. Gwash a ye hasya ti. Tsálkhan. Ya nitasahin chosatin has. Wushakaku ye shkakwe like. Kesh a ye hasuti. Has de chunkian kanal tsálk. Ḳukaháa des ye awe gunchish kecha. Keich a tsuk a qahuchi ai. Ngi wane. Kechtach de sego at ya yidat choa. T'aaw. Nas gwenets chanach. Yadua we t'aaw. Ach tuasaku cho achi a daat. A daat chasa.
was in do ish yi cochwens ha I ashkawa ja tsalki das yi sayeh chak t'aaw.
Oh, okay, good cheese. I clean out the way where think it try tsálk. Yeah, well.
Talk, t'aaw, late ka dujiwa, at gayde yana skit.
Itchy t'aaw awe. Clech t'aaw achji.
Oh, okay.
Yisatingi. Ya t'aaw kadan. Kun da. Shaki at yer.
Okay.
Shaki ke.
Ach llil gohas ai da clywedi we cwn. Cwn yahai.
Dakwasa a cawdli yichi adi tauk age.
Kun awe.
We sai we kune sai gonna cheese.
Oh, okay.
Tsálk t'aaw away.
Shakte shayal kichi.
Oh, okay. Kwashi.
Au yaad we nanya ayi ka shade honey. Ya yagayi how yaad shagun khatu.
Okay. T'aaw yat aya ka guantan sai itzu. Ka t'aaw yat ani. Ye awach wa ach we lower 48. T'aaw yat ani. Kwashi sa ku wan qanins. Hastu llachani. Hastu t'aaw kaye wuti. A ka aya yena teach. Yeil. T'aaw a kachaya. Yewe udutzinich. Yeil techi. Ajwe asaya we kutzati. T'aaw chan. Ka jakti sai awe. Gled kakina hisikuge. T'aaw chan. Ka jakti. Ka klein chusatien. Hisikuge du gled ka sai. Walter Soboleff. T'aaw chan. You do sagan. Ka jakti tsu. Chak away. T'aaw. Ye away. Atch duliechen. Hin awe, hin tade. Ye a kausatan. Adach awe hasutuasagu has awastini. Wasa we hin adach awe wutluk. Ye awe ade has awaskuye. Awsakuye. Ye ege we hin. Gwell cell ushke we hin. Ye awe chotu we yell kutlak. T'aaw teen awa kun kawadnigi da dichsa we hin. Yik ega we hin aten we hin dunayi. Ye awa chwaach ye yell skalnigi. Data to a daat you tuchtatan. Shakul.
Huh?
Gwalli twasagu wait the cut wait t'aaw. We at kautli yiji at gwalkukiha. We ach kakillal khul. Yeah, owa asaya kutzati. Gunch cheesh. Łukaháa, Johan. Gunch cheesh. Thoughts or questions?
That's a bird, generic bird. That's a
Well, there's two. You could say at kautli yiji at.
okay. A
Thing
coat.
that flies around, or you could just say tsálk.
Oh, okay. Goodness, cheesh.
What was the second one?
Tsatsi. At Tsatsi, our friends. Ahuni. Wait, telephone wires.
Kahis, that's the wire. Because I always it's tangled up. That's why it's got that name.
Did you say at ʼatudli.átk? At?
Yeah.
And that means a flying thing?
Things that fly around, yeah. So sort of like you say, hintak adi at kautli yiji at kayani at katu adi. Those are kind of your four kind of natural world spheres, I think. The hintak adi, the water things, at katu adi, the things of the woods, at kautli yiji at the things that fly around, and kayani, the plants. So usually when we're sort of talking about the natural world, that's kind of the four categories that things fall into. And then there's these whole families, right? Like all the weasels. We did a whole weasel thing in intermediate Tlingit the other night. It turned into a big weasel exam, which all the ones we could think of, and we are trying to talk about the differences between them. So
Yanaka hintak adi?
hintak adi is water things.
Okay, adi. Goodness, cheesh.
Hin
Kayani ka at adi ka akauftajit.
at kautli yiji at.
At kaudliji at. Goodness, cheesh.
Could you also say at with a cleaning at?
You could,
For one thing?
for one thing.
Okay.
That's what Ḳukaháa want to call an airplane. Yandaqinet, I think. Flying thing. Keshwutisku at yandaqini at. The unidentified thing, right?
Ach idi dishi chuklech ach tawasagu yudayachakai. I remember when I was younger.
Oh.
But I know like gwetsa is like when in the past. And then I know how to say like I forgot, but I never can say like and I've tried to like figure it out, but I remember when I was younger.
I remember the time when I was young or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's take a look. Let's go into let me move this over here so I don't have to move it. Ach, Kately. Tudeus. So let's look at remember first, because there is a relationship between forgetting and remembering, just in terms of like how they're generally structured. And so actually let's look at forget first, because I think that's one that a lot of us are familiar with. Right? And there's kind of two general ways I think to say forget, but we'll look at these. So under forget, you get sa, which is like this part or the voice, you get a 0 classifier, and ḳaaq, which means, I think as a verb root, it means like to disappear, to kind of die off. And then you have whatever you're forgetting, and then usually cut, right? So we see here, kat sawu ḳaaq, they didn't forget me. And you could say, kat sewu ḳaaq, they forgot me. Like I was at Pu'ik, and they didn't even give me any presents. I'm crying. So here, and then you can have whatever the thing is, and it's often a cut, right? So, but I could say, Isai owe, a cut, I forgot your name. The other main way to talk about forgetting something is kut, which means I lost it. Literally means I lost it. And it's like I threw it and it got lost, is what you're sort of literally saying. And that one is more like, I should know it, but I forget. Like, dang it, you know. And whereas this is just generally forgot something, right? It is a little unusual because you get an object pronoun. So that's kind of nice because like forgetting happened to me. Like I didn't even do it. It just happened to me, right? So then I could say, I forgot you. You forgot me. So there's forgetting, right? So it does have this ka, and then it has, you know, an object pronoun. So if we go, and we can look at this one underneath it, and this one has both an object and a subject. So this would be, so you could say, a cut you made me forget. Ikat, oh, ikat I made you forget. So now this, you can have a subject in this one, it changes to the L classifier, which is pretty common, right? You switch from 0 to either S or L when somebody makes that thing happen. So then we go down to remember, and then we see like there's a couple different options here that I think are worth talking about. So we see this something, ka, dak, and we get sa again, 0 classifier again, and now ha. So this is, it popped into my mind, right? It popped into my mind. Like this memory emerged, right? And so that's where you got dak in there, because it's like it comes out from the shadows, right? And so here we see some examples. I didn't remember you, right? It's not a very nice phrase, but it could be said. So, they remembered that they had said this, that a person had said this. And so here you get a plural, right? So this, if I were to say I remembered, so you're also getting an object pronoun here for whoever is remembering. So again, the remembering is kind of happening to someone. There is, if you look down here, you could switch it to an L classifier and the same thing happens. You can now be reminded, right? So it follows the same thing, but then you can end up with sachtlaha or saitlaha for whoever is reminding someone about something. So then you have this other one, which is to bear it in mind. And so this means these next two are very similar. So for me, I think of this one as like I was consciously, I was making sure I remembered this thing, right? Like I was, oh, don't forget. You got to name, like you stand up to name these clans, right? And you're trying to give some speech in public, and you see someone, you're like, Ćukanidi are here. You better not forget them, right? Tequidi are here. Oop, I better keep them in mind. And that way you don't forget them when you get up to do the thing. And then underneath is like, it's like just inside of you, right? So this is where you get the tuyeyeti, right? So in this case, you have and so this is to bear in mind, right? And so they are a little bit different, right? So this is to remember something, this is to make sure you don't forget, and this is, it's always there. And then you have this one, which is you had to think about it. And like someone asked me, hey, what's that person's name that was in that thing with us? And I was like, oh man, they just look like a movie star. So we always called them the movie star's name. And I had to think and think. And then I was like, finally, and I just kept talking. And then, you know, sometimes you have those moments where you just keep talking. Like, I keep talking, I think I'll remember. And then I remember it. So it's like a ka dak tu de ton. So here you do have a subject. You do have the same type of sort of thing onto it, emerging from the shadows. And then you get, so here you'd say, a ka dak tuch de ton du sai. I thought about it and I remembered that person's name. So then you have brought it into your memory consciously, and then you can have a plural version of that one. So here I would say, I would say a ka dak khat se waha. I remembered. And then you would say, I guess there's different ways to do the other part. And I would probably say, yadak khat sati when I was a young boy. And then I could have you could have something else too. It depends how complicated your sentence is sort of getting. Like if there's some other verb that's going to get tied in there. Like I remember when I was a young boy and I saw a killer whale or whatever the thing is. It's going to start getting a little bit more complicated if you start adding more and more clauses. But in this case, for a time reference, you could take a verb and you could say, yadak khat sati when I was a young boy. And in your case, it'd be shad, or it depends too, because then you got to pick sort of an era. Shatkiatsku would be, you know, you go from tokane, can't really move around. Once you start moving around, you're either a yadakwetsku or a shatkiatsku. And then once you're sort of, now you're old enough to move around on your own, and you're in that phase until you sort of hit puberty, and then you go shatk or yadak, and then you're in that phase until you sort of become a young adult, old enough to sort of do stuff on your own. Then you're yis shawat or yis ka, and then you go to shawat and ka, and then to shawat shan and ka shan. But you always got to be careful with those ones.
Ganashish. Just for these ones, I know the last verb that you were showing has an object and a subject. Would that also work for one of these? Like that picture, like a cut, dao, cut, weha. Or is it weha was the end? Weha.
Oh, it would be sewaha.
Sewaha.
Yeah. And so, but like looking at that picture, or that picture reminds me, right? So even if you have an object, I think you would still have a kadakhat sauklaha. It reminds me of this.
Okay, so the picture or anything would just go before the aka.
Well, I guess it depends. Well, so if looking at the picture reminds you of something, then I would use the sauklaha one. But if like I remembered this picture, where atyahai awa akadak khatsewaha, I remember this picture. So it kind of depends, like if you're remembering the picture or if you're looking at the picture and that is reminding you of something.
Sheesh, that makes a lot of sense explaining it like that.
Yeah, because then you've got, and these are really interesting because you do have an indirect object out here, right? So for example, this picture reminds me of my grandmother. Ka dag khat sauklaha ya atyahai. That picture reminds me of my grandma, right? For some reason, right? Or whatever the thing is, right? And so, yeah, when we talk about like remembering or sort of like memories and stuff, we get into this sort of realm where we do have this ka. So whatever the thing that's being reminded, ends up being the ka, right? Or I'd say like, I saw this picture and it reminded me of you. This picture, it reminded me of you.
Kashahit way notes this stuff.
Oh, yeah, I guess it's good, huh? Let's see.
Goodness cheese.
Oh. So let's see where. Here's our nose for the Ḳukaháa.
Yeah.
This is my great granny's
Good
name.
start. Good start.
Okay. So yeah, so we do have, I guess we would write this as N, Ka, and then we'd usually write T with a tilde to say it could be something else. And then you got object, Sa, 0, Ha. So this is to remember. And then we get a very similar structure. And then we say we can add a subject. And then we change the classifier to L. And that's to, well, I guess we should say for O to remember. And now we've got for S to remind O of N, right? So we're getting into a lot of codes here, a lot of coded stuff. But then we could see, so we could say ikat, khat, sewaha. And we end up with a few different things here. One is like this is a 0, it's a 0 verb, right? I'm just gonna put 0 on there. And this is also a 0, right? And this is important because once we know that, we can use it in all kinds of different ways, right? So I could say, remind me of it. So a cut, oops, I forgot something. Daat. I'm using these pluses. So a cut, doc, I think you would say sahlaha, which would be remind me of it. And then you could say, and then, you know, so what we end up with is like trying to keep in mind of which things are talking about which things, right? So the capital N is where we're talking about the thing that's being remembered, right? And then a lot of times it's just gonna be, I remember the time, I remember the picture, I remember that, you know, and those end up being, but they could also be, in this case, we always keep in mind like these are possessive pronouns, right? Dukat, I remember them. Hastukat, I remember them all, right? We'at'u Hastukat, chatsayshaha, or chatsauhlaha, sorry. Seeing the at'u reminds me of them, like our ancestors, right? And so what we end up with is, we kind of talked about this the other day, is sa, once you put a perfective, if you have sa, perfective, ya, you're going to get sewa, right? And that's the case where you're going to get sewa, chewa. Those are the two that you're going to get that awa thing going on. Not a whole lot of others will do that. But because this is an L classifier, now you're going to get sausha, or saushe, right? Is what we should get. So in this case, you could say, it reminded me of it, or it reminded me of you. Ikat, dak, khat, saushlaha. And then I could also say, you reminded me of it, right? And as far as like context, like maybe I'm thanking you because I was getting up to give a speech and you said, oh, don't forget about your aunties, the tequedi, or that bear is going to come chase you away, right? So you could say, a cut, doc, Khat Sailaha. So here we get Saisha, right? So you did it. And then like the of and stuff, it gets a little tricky like in terms of how we translate this stuff into English. Because it's like you reminded me of it, but it's like you helped me remember this thing, right?
Trying to figure out where the nouns and the subjects and the objects were in some of those later sentences you were showing. So the or you, cut, dark, cut.
So this is the thing being remembered. Whatever gets cut.
Okay. Okay.
Or ka. Whoever the object is the one who is remembering, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
My memories, it's like your memories happen to you. That's how she gets
Okay.
just like forgetting happens to you. You're like, well, I didn't do it. It just happened to me, right?
That's why you can't put ḥukaháa.
Yes. So that would be, I reminded someone of it. I mean, you could say, I don't know if you could, I think you could probably chush this one. So you could say, a cut, dark. I don't know if you could do it.
I reminded myself.
I would expect it to be this, but yeah, I reminded myself. And there's so much stuff there. This would probably push out to chush. A cut, dark, chush, sachtlaha. But it's probably weird to say. I think you would end up with you would switch verbs to the tuyati or sayati. Like I kept it in mind, right? So that's a little bit different. Like, or like I thought on it, right? So that's why you got whole different verbs for that kind of stuff. Like I thought about it and then I remembered. I did this the other day. I went downstairs and I was like, what did I come down here for? I'm going to stay here till I remember. And I did.
Get older, Khune.
Well, one time I walked upstairs and I was walking downstairs. I was like, oh man, I forgot to get the thing. And then I looked and it was in my hand. I was like, no, I forgot that I had gotten the thing. Okay, that's level 2, I guess. So.
That happens. So, I have a question about the SAW, and then the next one is SAY, and they're both in the perfective.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So this is you did it, and this is I did it. And so we will, and so I'll change this one to something that makes more sense, right? So this would be, I reminded you. I guess I'll say about it, right, instead of it. I think that makes more sense as far as how the English works. And so what we have here is the subject is the reminder, the object is the one who remembers, and then the indirect object, which we call N, is the thing that's being remembered, right? A cut dak is sachtlaha. I reminded you of their name. I made sure you didn't forget it, right? And so it is confusing because you've got 3 different things, right? So the N is the thing that is being remembered, or in the forgotten verb is the thing being forgotten. Then the object is the one that is doing the forgetting or the remembering, and the subject is the one who's causing someone to forget or to remember. So there are 3 things in there, and that's why these ones do get a little bit wild. But we are going to take a closer look at the perfective, and we see that there is a thematic prefix on there, but then we end up with so we take this one and we've got, like, let's just make it all 3rd person, right? So if we go through and we say, I reminded, you're going to end up with sautlaha. We reminded, and you're going to get saututlaha. And then you're going to get you reminded, and you're going to get sailaha. And then we're going to get y'all reminded, and we're going to get sayilaha, which would be, there is an inland variation for this one. And then we get somebody did it, and we get ʼsawlaha. And then we can get ḥasawlaha. So that one doesn't change a whole lot. And then people reminded, what do y'all think? This is the only one left. These are the only subject combinations you can have.
Saudaha?
Sao.
Oh,
Duh? No, duh. What?
Good.
Do. Okay. Duha. Do. Do sheha.
Now it has to happen.
We have to have the classifier in there.
oh, but it's a vowel.
Well, because it's duh.
Udze? Huh?
It's it, but you are in the right realm.
This
Jump up.
Saudaha.
Tlaha.
Udleha.
Oh,
If that had been
T.
Sao Siha, would it be Sao Dusha?
Well, if it was an S classifier, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It would be dudze.
Okay.
Okay, you all better remember this.
We're like junior Jedis. It's like we got a lightsaber now, but we can't block anything yet.
Just cut things. I just cut. Yeah, so Wednesday we'll get back to our verb prefixes, and this will build up to the perfective, and we'll see, like, so once we learn a verb, we're like, okay, I see those are the things that are in there. And so like there is quite a bit of logic in here, right? Because you've got doc and ka and stuff like that. So it is a bit unusual. And not every verb is going to be like this. These are some of the more unusual verbal structures. But then once you see it, like, okay, it's got sa on it, and an object and a subject, L classifier, I got it, right? And then you could do all the futures for this too, which we'll do in the future. It's good tsálk talk tonight.
Yes.
I got one question. What does this mean again? Akat dak chush sakliha.
Oh, forget that one. I was just trying to put it together. It's like I reminded myself. But that's why if we go back to the reminding verbs, that is why there's a whole other verb to bear it in mind. You would end up with this one, sayati. Like this is the one, like you wouldn't have to remind yourself. You would just say, this is like, I didn't let myself forget. I made sure I didn't forget. And then you also have this other one, which was down here. I thought on it and then I remembered. Because you don't really remind yourself because you're the one who's forgetting, right? So you're the one, you either, like this one, like I needed to make sure I was physically thinking about it. This one, it's always inside of me. I'll never forget it. And then this one is, oh, I forgot it. And then I thought about it and I brought it to my mind. But you could say chush tutitishi. Or no, that's not what you say. You say chush. Oh, what was it? Hold on. We'll end on this one. I gotta find it, and then we'll finally be done.
I think we need I lost my mind.
Well, you end up with ʼatudli.átk. I was walking around without my thoughts. But that can get pretty intense because that's like what they used to talk about Alzheimer's or traumatic, the coming back from wars and stuff. Like that's where I was hearing that one.
Let's not go there yet. We're not that far gone.
You don't need to. Shtut kukhideshi. That's what it is. Search your mind. So this would be your Star Wars thing, like search your feelings. Shtut kukhideshi. look around inside yourself. Feel around inside yourself, I guess, which is... We'll look at this one next time, I think. These are phrases that we came up with for the Mentor Apprentice program when we're starting it in Yakutat.
Ooh, neat.
Yeah, really good phrases.
That looks good. Ah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want that picture too.
Cheese.
Good cheese, Johan. Good job.
Cheese.
Gnish cheese.
Cheese, Iwan.
Cheese. Finish cheese.
You mentioned Star Wars, and then you said apprentice, and my mind like instantly went to like Siths.
Yeah, they are out there. The ʼatudli.átk. Up to no good.
Diagon.
Sheesh.
Oh, I sent you a Facebook message.
Okay, I'll go check it out.
Okay, Diagon.
Yeah, again.